because they have no data. Okay, that's the state of our city traffic planning. We actually don't even know. We don't have traffic counts for that area. So then they can't enforce any, they can't say there's a problem there because they don't even know, right? See how simple that is? So, okay, we got some other people to talk to.
He asked about extending the time. Would anyone object to extending the time about 10 minutes from 8:30?
Nope.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Hope Marston. I live
Hours.
Hello, my name is Hope Marston. I live at 31st and University. There really isn't a 31st, but that's where I live. So my partner and I looked down the street the other day and we were thinking, you know, how many people actually live on half a block, like what this space is going to take up, about a half a block. We counted the houses. It's like, well, if there are 2 people in every house, you know, it might be like 15 people. And so now we're going to have 250 or more people in that same amount of space. And so just thinking about it that way gives you a perspective of what havoc it's going to wreak in our area. Also, when I think about driving, like going to the post office from where I live, I'm going down 32nd, and sometimes I can turn left. I mean, it's rare, but I can. Other times I turn right, and then I turn left, and then I turn left again on Ferry and go around that way. And I thought about this in context with a whole bunch of people moving into the area who don't know our neighborhood and who are just, you know, coming in to live in apartments, not owning houses and not staying for 20 years like most of us have. And I think, oh yeah, Ferry doesn't even have sidewalks. And there are kids in that neighborhood. And so people that are just Zooming, you know, I don't Zoom, but people that might just come into the area, I mean, there's really a lot of fear about our kids. I don't have kids, well, I'm grandkid-ish. But anyway, I just think that's important to mention. Also, I was there when the developer came and talked to Southeast Neighbors a couple months ago or whenever. And, you know, we talked about the car wash. We talked about, could you make it smaller, you know, something that actually fits with this neighborhood? And the answer was no, because economically it has to pencil out. So it has to have this huge amount of people. It has to have these huge rents. That's what it is about for this developer. It's not about any sort of service to the community. It's not about being in our community, being part of our community. This is just, you know, profit. Yep. Oh, sorry.
My name is Sally Einstad. I live next door to Ms. Marston. I lived where 31st would come through if there was a 31st running east from Hilliard Street. And I live on University. Recently, University Street was fortunate enough to get a red blinking traffic signal across 30th Avenue, particularly for the safety of the children going to Camas Ridge Elementary School, which stretches from University Street to Harris Street. And I have deep concerns because wonderful as that signal is, it has increased the traffic significantly on University Street. Now we have this huge complex going in, and I have one question regarding taxation. What kind of tax break has this developer asked for, and is he getting?
The developer has not asked for a tax break, or would there be one available in this particular location? So this area is not eligible for the multi-unit property tax exemption.
Okay. So in wrapping up then, I'm glad to hear that, because there were concerns that I've heard from a lot of people regarding developers who do get those breaks. But I am very concerned about the increased traffic down, not just University, but every one of those arterials from University on down to Alder Street. And the neighbor that mentioned her backyard butting up against there, the people that are going to be looking into everybody's backyards and bedroom windows.
Bedroom window, yeah.
Hi, everyone. everybody. My name is Diane Turner, and I live at 33rd and High. I've lived there for 35 years, so I've seen a lot of change on that street. The calming things that they put in do not work. I'm wondering if it's true that they have not done any study on 33rd, which is now designated as a bike lane on both sides, where the calming is, the cars have to actually stop and let the bike go out and then go around. And what about the fire department? Have they been asked what the impact would be, because they're right there, they come down 33rd, and their main artery is Hilliard. So if what I heard you say is that people who have spoken at these public forums can write in and appeal, is that what? Okay. I would like to know what the process is for just a citizen to write in this information and ask questions.
Okay, so you had a couple of questions, and I think the first one was, is it true that 33rd was not studied? And that is accurate. Just to be clear, one of the reasons it was not studied is it, one, doesn't abut the property, so those streets were studied. And then the next threshold is it gonna get more than 50 trips, I believe during a peak hour, and according to the study, it's not gonna get that number of trips, and that's why it was not studied. So it wasn't a willy-nilly decision. There's actually thresholds in what we look at in terms of what intersections get studied, just for clarification.
Okay.
Now I've forgotten your other question.
So the bike lanes and the fire department.
Okay, I don't have information, I don't know whether or not this went to the fire department, so I can't confirm or deny that particular one. I don't remember if we actually sent these out to the fire department, and it's not clear in here, so I can't, I'm sorry, I can't answer that
Information
one.
about appeal process?
So
for just
the appeal,
ordinary citizens?
I wish I had that in front of me, but I can tell you that if the appeal deadline is February the 8th at 5 o'clock,
Right.
there is, each one, there's a $250 fee. You would have to say how the planning director erred in the decision, so it's based on the criteria from the land use code.
So I can't, I
Well,
wouldn't know
and
how to do that.
Well,
And who's got $250?
Well, we can talk about that. We're gonna talk about that later.
if the neighborhood association actually, I think if they sponsor it, then there's not a cost. But any person who is adversely affected or aggrieved by the decision, or who is mailed this notice, may appeal and pay the appeal fee.
And maybe if anyone is interested in appeal, whether or not you know how to do it, afterwards you could stay and meet with your college.
Is that a city notice?
Yes.
I've lived in my house 45 years, I did not get one.
All right,
And I'm a registered voter as well.
it went to properties within 300 feet.
Oh.
And anybody who submitted letters, yeah, who asked to, that's the.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Okay. So I own the house that Fawn lives in, 3070 Alder Street. Our backyard is right up against that. But, okay, so I also work for FedEx, and this is my route. I've been driving here for 18 years up into your house. Yeah. So I'm asking about how are we going to turn left off of 32nd?
I'm so glad you're asking that.
And how are we going to get out of, from Alder, turn left onto 30th? It's going to be impossible because now it's almost impossible. It's really hard. That's my traffic question. Also, I'm wondering if we can get some speed bumps here because there's going to be a lot of traffic just going around this block trying to get into there.
If I could elaborate, because I'm hearing this comment from a lot of people, the traffic study does not sound like it took into consideration a lot of our concerns and as users of these streets. What recourse will we have if this development is built and all of our worst fears are realized?
Yes.
Yeah. So, first of all, I think, you know, there is the option for the developer to scale back the project. Second of all, there's the option for the city to ask for or require.
Put your mic up.
Second of all, there's the option for the city to ask for or require additional mitigation. So there's two things, and this is not, I'm not sure why Heather is writing this off as a lost cause, but it certainly is not. And at any rate, 32nd, the strip that our friendly FedEx driver mentions here, coming out of 32nd, this development is going to have great difficulty going west and south.
Right.
That's you know, fundamental problem with this location. You can see it right away as soon as you look at it. But coming out of 32nd, to make this left turn to go south, you basically have to, there are 2 lanes of traffic and there's no refuge, right?
Yes, there is.
Yeah. I looked at it. Take a look at it. The refuge is actually the pull-out lane for the southbound strip. So it's not a refuge there. It's not a pedestrian refuge or a vehicle refuge. Pedestrian refuge has been added by the city, and so that was a great additional requirement that they had. I believe they were requiring a pedestrian refuge there. So the problem here is that I'll have to check on that. But the coming out of 32nd, left-bound, this development will generate left-bound turns. It will also generate southbound left turns into the development. So not only will you have to cross 2 lanes, but you'll have to yield to the left-bound south on Hilliard. Do you see what I'm saying? So this will go from about 50 southbound left turn lanes to 118 according to the traffic study. That is 2 per minute. So if you're waiting here for your opportunity to clear 2 lanes of traffic, and that comes along once every 30 seconds, it'll be filled by the left turn coming in here, and you'll be blocked. And you'll wait another 30 seconds, but there'll be another vehicle that will fill your left turn and block it. You'll have to yield to that. So you will not be able to exit. You will not be able to make this out. So this is just 1 second. So I pointed this out in my comments, and the traffic engineer's response is, they're not required to do complex analysis like that. Okay? If it wasn't in the traffic manual, and it isn't just basically boilerplate calculations, they're not required to determine whether this actually functions as a southbound turn. But I think it will not function at all. The consequence is if you can't get south, as someone mentions, you have to do some other things to get south, and one of them will be Ferry Street right here. You go right over to 30.